If only it was that simple, you think as the train rattles on. But what should step 1 be? You should have finished this yesterday. When you arrive, the city council will demand answers on how to slay it. Okay, step 1. Let's try using bait to lure the beast. No, it doesn't have to be gold. Anything shiny will do. Dragons behave a bit like bowerbirds or collectors of vintage merchandise. They hoard bright objects to make their nests more desirable to others.
In these days, that usually just means random bits of trash.
So to lure a dragon, you can keep your actual gold. Unless you have a few hundred carrots lying around, of course. In which case, leave it with me for safekeeping, right? Will they actually believe they are being attacked by a dragon?
Although you are pretty sure it is just an overgrown phoenix.
Step 2. Avoid eye contact as you make your approach. Despite what you may remember from movies or history class. Dragons and lesser drakes won't attack unless directly confronted. So, as you would with any large predator, keep eyes low. No photos, no sudden movements, and you should be fine. Not that anyone ever actually listens to that advice.
The constant rattling of the train is starting to hurt.
A few seats forward, locals are loudly gossiping about the beast. They wonder why no one has tried catching it in a net.
A big net? Would that actually work on a dragon?
God, no, you are clearly losing your mind on this trip.
If you let it live, it will ruin the countryside.
You stare out at the land the dragon will supposedly ruin. There is less and less space for dragons anywhere these days. But for centuries, that is just the way things have headed. The very pace of modern life is at odds with magic. Everyone knows that. Modern cities grow larger every single day.
More people live in cities now than ever lived before.
With thousands of tons of concrete poured for every person. Civilization is a creeping giant of metal and concrete. A world that frankly doesn't have room for giant reptiles.
So, Step 3. Confirm the dragon must actually be slain.
The key variable here, as I'm typing now, is the extent of the damage. If the dragon has damaged the infrastructure,
Did it damage houses, crops, or local pets? According to the news, it was the crops in this case.
Then an official like myself can estimate the cost of extermination.
But couldn't we just leave it alone? They ask.
For God's sake, a dragon in the wild isn't natural.
Actually, that is a very common misconception.
Dragons are dangerous, but they are part of the food web. Some argue their removal causes other populations to spiral. Unicorn populations could grow out of control, harming the biosphere. We know the eradication of wolves affected rivers in strange ways. Without predators, herbivores overgrazed the riverbanks, causing erosion. There is a term for these cascading disasters: trophic cascades. You consider adding this to your presentation, but decide against it. You are finally arriving at the city now.
It looks just like every other city you've visited.
Its size is average, its population is completely normal. You step off the train and blend into the crowd. City Hall is located very close to the station. Inside, you follow the signs to the council member's office.
You here to slay the dragon? The man smells faintly of cottage cheese and wet socks.
His name tag says Gary, but his desk nameplate says Brian.
So, which name is it? You decide not to ask.
You shake hands, but he doesn't introduce himself.
You got a PowerPoint on how to slay it or what?
Yes, I have prepared a presentation. It is almost finished.
He grunts and points you toward a chair in the corner. Step 4. Determine the extermination method.
Traditional weapons, like swords, are classic, but outdated.
Contracting a knight is expensive and highly impractical.
They only historically succeeded against very small drakes.
Plus, modern knights tend to be massive jerks.
You are much better off working with a safety liaison.
Something like sodium cyanide, or perhaps a bit of fairy dust. But only if you have access to a proper hazmat suit.
We need to check inside.
I agree. The readings are high here.
You decide to delete the fairy dust suggestion entirely. No time for presentations. Tell me as we drive.
Sorry, where exactly are we going? Gary says nothing, just floors it through a red light. Why did they send you for this? They usually send Henderson. But Henderson got fired for using outdated terms with centaurs.
You call this a project plan? It's a disaster. Yeah. I can't work like this. Yeah. This is unacceptable.
We're gonna hunt the dragon ourselves. Oh, I'm actually more of a hands-off safety liaison. Yeah, sounds good.
You decide it is not worth arguing with him.
The city speeds past outside the car window.
This place once had a healthy gargoyle population.
But as old buildings are demolished, they vanish. The only animals left are birds scavenging for food. Birds are better adapted for cities than most animals, able to make a living in the smallest urban nooks. While dragons are completely out of luck in modern times. Because the only way to survive is to stay small.
Jesus, Gary really loves that car horn.
So, Step 5. Prepare basic fireproofing.
The steps for fireproofing are straightforward. Yeah. Very interesting. What's next? Finally, review the key actions.
Always have a Class D extinguisher on hand. The distinct, pressurized hissing sound of a fire extinguisher spraying thick, but exercise caution before using water-based deterrents. Dragon flame is fueled by their biosecretions.
So in practice, it behaves like a grease fire.
Any liquid has a high chance of spreading the substance.